So what is the camera actually calculating? What is it measuring? That's what we need to start with, because once you understand it, the whole pattern clicks at once. Most people assume that the meter is reading how bright the scene is, like a brightness sensor. And that seems logical. Bright scene, more light, the camera adjusts for it. But that's not what it's actually doing. Your camera meters reflected light off whatever's in the frame, and it's calibrated to expose everything. So the average comes out to about 18% gray, which is middle toned or medium brightness. But it doesn't know what your subject is. It doesn't know if your background is supposed to be a bright white or a deep black. It just sees light bounce off of everything and it averages it, and it tries to make that average look neutral. And in a typical scene where there's some lights, some darks, and some midtones, that average lands close to neutral and the exposure works. But the second your scene tips hard in one direction or the other, the camera starts fighting against what you're actually trying to shoot. A mostly bright scene, like white clothing or snow or a light colored backdrop, the camera is trying to darken it towards gray. And that's when your whites start to look really muddy and all the highlights disappear. And a mostly dark scene, like a black backdrop or dark clothing or a low-key setup, that's when the camera tries to brighten it towards gray. And your blacks in the photos start to lift and your shadows go gray when you wanted them dark. In a high contrast scene, like your subject against a bright background, the camera is trying to average for both and you lose one of them. I ran into this constantly when shooting portraits. I'd be shooting at golden hour and I'd set my subject in front of the setting sun because it was beautiful. And all of a sudden my subject was either well lit and the whole sunset disappeared, or I was getting the sunset in perfect focus and my subject's face was just too dark to see. If you don't know why this is happening, you end up fixing it in post every time, and you never understand why those scenes always need more exposure or less. But once you know, you can walk up to a bright background scene and you already know what the camera's gonna do before you press the shutter.